Hi, I'm Daisy, an 18-year-old college student from Florida. My parents separated when I was 12, and since then, I've lived with my mom. Last year, my dad passed away from cancer, which hit me really hard because we were incredibly close. In his will, he left me a sizable sum of money, but I couldn't access it until I turned 18. Now that I've hit that milestone, something truly unexpected has happened. And even now, it still feels surreal. One day, my stepdad, Arlo, who's in his mid-40s and has been married to my mom for 5 years, called me into his room. We've never had a strong relationship, though I've always tried to stay civil. He hasn't exactly been the kindest to me over the years. So when he asked, "Hey Daisy, we need to talk," I wasn't sure what to expect. Then he brought up the inheritance from my dad. He said I should give it to my stepbrother, David, because he needed it for college. Arlo explained that David wanted to go to university, and he believed it was my responsibility to give him the money. I was stunned. I couldn't believe Arlo had the nerve to suggest I hand over my inheritance. I told him, "I'm sorry, but I don't think that's something I can do. My dad left that money to me, and I might need it one day." But Arlo disagreed and said, "That's nonsense. You don't need that money, and David's need is greater." I stood my ground. "No, I'm not giving it away." Arlo's temper flared, and he shot back. "Daisy, don't test me." Calmly, I replied, "There's no reason to be upset. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but this is a boundary I need to set. If you're angry because I said no, that's something you need to think about. After all, you're also just a guest in this house. Let's keep things civil." I turned to leave, saying, "That's all there is to it." Honestly, I wasn't even surprised by Arlo's request. Given his past behavior, I had a feeling he'd eventually try something like this. You're probably wondering where my mom was throughout all of this. That's another part of the story. My mom, Rose, doesn't seem to see Arlo's faults. She's always standing by his side, like she's blind to his flaws. While I know she loves me, I've tried to avoid straining her view of him. It's strange how, even though I'm the youngest, I often find myself being the most mature in the house. My mom was away when this happened, which gave Arlo the confidence to try and boss me around. He didn't expect me to catch on to his game, though. After I walked out, Arlo followed, accusing me of being a bad sister because I refused to give the money to David. He claimed that David needed it more than I did. To be honest, I want to help David, but not like this. Arlo and David are so much alike. They remind me of a scheming duo. Like Pinky and the Brain, you can figure out who's who. "Don't walk away while I'm talking to you," Arlo shouted. "You need to do the right thing." "Can you explain why I should?" I asked. Before he could respond, David appeared, rubbing his eyes. "What's going on? You guys woke me up with all the yelling," he said. Arlo urged him, "Tell Daisy what we discussed earlier." David blinked a few times before saying, "Oh yeah, the inheritance. We talked about how I need it for college. So, Daisy, I think you should give it to me." "Wait a minute," I interrupted. "Arlo told me this was about a business deal." David looked confused for a moment before quickly correcting himself. "Right, I meant college. That's what I need it for." I shook my head. "Nice try, but the answer is still no." The rest of the night was full of tension. Arlo is usually known for playing dumb pranks, but this was a new low for him. I couldn't believe how immature and selfish they both were. While this situation was serious, I didn't tell my mom right away. I wanted to handle it myself, especially after what I learned. "Daisy, you need to be mature and make the right decision," Arlo insisted. "And you think the right decision is giving away my inheritance? Are you serious, Arlo? Just wait until I tell my mom." "Don't you dare tell Rose," he snapped. "Why not? She's my mom. She deserves to know how you're treating me," I replied. "She won't care," Arlo said. "If you bring this up, she'll just think you're being selfish and wasting her time." I looked at him, unconvinced. That's a risk I'm willing to take, I said. His voice grew harsher. I'm warning you, don't tell your mother. At that point, I realized there was more going on. His sudden aggression, combined with David's slip about a business idea, made it clear they had other plans for the money. When I finally got a chance to talk to my mom, I said, Mom, something weird is going on with Arlo and David, especially Arlo. He's acting really strange. Oh, Daisy, she sighed, you're overreacting. I know you don't get along with him, but he's not that bad. Mom, he asked for my inheritance money. What do you mean they both demanded the money, Arlo and David? That can't be true. He wouldn't do that, my mom exclaimed in disbelief. Mom, I know you care about him for whatever reason, but I'm telling you the truth. He claimed it was for David's college, but something feels off. When I told him I'd tell you, he got really aggressive. I don't know, sweetheart, I feel like I need more concrete proof, she replied hesitantly. Don't worry, Mom, I'll get the proof you need, just wait, I assured her. Even though she wasn't ready to fully accept it, I kept reminding her that Arlo seemed to have some sort of hold over her. Despite this, I was determined to uncover what was really going on. Late that night, I used the family computer and stumbled upon something shocking. It seemed like Arlo forgot to log out of his email. Big mistake. What I found was troubling. Arlo had been exchanging emails with a woman named Bella, and these emails weren't innocent at all. It was clear he was having an affair. I took down notes, but what I saw next was even more alarming. The messages mentioned Arlo planning to leave my mom and run away with Bella after they got a big payout from some business. From what I gathered, the business seemed shady. Arlo wasn't foolish enough to spell out anything illegal in the emails, but it was clear he was being unfaithful and sloppy. I knew I needed more information, so the next day, I decided to see if I could get anything out of David. I casually started a conversation with him while secretly recording on my phone. Hey David, I greeted him. Hey, Daisy, you seem like you're in a good mood today, he replied. Yeah, why not? The weather's nice. Actually, I've been thinking about what you and Arlo mentioned, and I'm considering giving you the money, I said, testing him. David's face lit up. Really? That's amazing. I'll let him know. Hold on a second, I stopped him. Before I hand over the money, I just want to be sure, it's for your college tuition, right? Yeah, for my tuition, exactly, David stammered, clearly caught off guard. I thought so, I replied, playing along. And what about Bella, is she part of this plan too? David immediately looked nervous. Bella? Who's Bella? He asked, fumbling for words. Come on, David, she's what did you say? Oh yeah, the college advisor, I teased, watching him struggle. Before David could say more, Arlo barged in, his face filled with anger. I don't appreciate you grilling my son like this, he said, glaring at me. I'm just asking questions about how my money is going to be used, I responded calmly. Well, once you give someone money, it's no longer your concern, Arlo snapped. That's an interesting way to speak to someone who's about to give you money, I challenged. You're not about to, you're giving it, and if you don't, I'll kick you out of this house, Arlo threatened, his voice filled with rage. I was stunned, and even David looked shocked. Dad, that wasn't part of the plan. Shut up, Arlo cut him off. I'm in charge here. If you don't hand over that inheritance, you're out. Fortunately, I was still recording. I had everything on tape, Arlo's outburst, the threats, all of it. Without another word, I walked away and locked myself in my room, furious but also determined. For the next few days, I gathered all the evidence I could. It felt like I was living in one of those detective dramas where everything comes together piece by piece. I had voice recordings and screenshots of Arlo's incriminating emails to Bella. I was preparing for the inevitable confrontation. When I had everything ready, I called my mom. Hi, Mom. I greeted her. "Hey, sweetheart, how are you?" she asked. "Mom, are you sitting down?" "Why, what's wrong?" she asked, her tone immediately shifting to concern. "I've got some bad news, and it's going to be hard for you to hear," I began. Then, I told her everything. She kept denying it until I played the recording. At that point, I could hear her world shatter. "Why would he say those things to you? Why would he do this to us, to me?" she asked, struggling to comprehend. "Because, Mom, he's not a good person. I'm sorry, but you married someone who's been deceiving you. This is awful. I can't believe I left you here alone with those two." "Absolutely not. I'm coming home right now. Have you locked your door?" she asked urgently. "Yes, I have," I confirmed. "I'm going to make sure he regrets everything. When I'm through with him, he'll wish he never married me," she said, her voice filled with determination. "That's the spirit, Mom. Now hurry back. We need to make a plan." Hours later, my mom arrived home, and we embraced each other, crying for what felt like forever. The news hit her hard, but I was relieved to see her in fight mode. We spent the rest of the evening planning our next steps. A few days passed, and Arlo seemed confused about why my mom was home early and why she was suddenly avoiding him. He tried to act as though nothing was wrong, overly cheerful, but we both saw through his facade. After I showed her the shady emails about Arlo's so-called business deal, my mom hired a private investigator. She suspected the money wasn't meant for anything legitimate, and her fury grew when she realized the extent of Arlo's deception. We knew this was bigger than just a family matter, and she wasn't about to let him get away with it. The detective disclosed the investigation results to my mom, who immediately filled me in. I'm at a loss for words. "What did the detective uncover?" I asked. "Well, it seems he's setting up a laundromat as a front for money laundering. It's an old scam." "Unbelievable. Is that all?" "No, not even close. He's also seeing some woman named Bella. Turns out, she has a rap sheet for drug-related offenses. She's been arrested several times for trying to distribute illegal substances. So, it's likely drugs are involved in whatever they're scheming." I can't believe this. It's like a fog's been lifted. I finally see him for what he really is. He's not just a bad husband but a dangerous, twisted individual. "When do we confront him?" I asked eagerly. "Right now, just follow my lead." "Wait, let me grab my phone." We headed to the living room, where David and Arlo were deep in conversation. "We'll just disguise everything behind the laundromat, act normal, smile, and serve customers as if it's business as usual." "All right, but what about," David began. "Oh, hey there," Arlo interrupted, forcing a grin as soon as he saw us. "We were just going over some last-minute things for David's college application." "Drop the charade, Arlo. We know what's really going on," my mom said sharply. I don't understand," Arlo stammered, his forced smile fading. "Your little act won't cut it anymore. Say cheese," I smirked, holding my phone camera up. "Get that phone out of my face, you spoiled, Daisy. Save it, Arlo. Do you even know how long you'd be locked up for these crimes you're planning?" "I have no idea what you're talking about," Arlo blustered, his confidence wavering. "Maybe we should give Bella a call. Let's see what she has to say," I teased. "You've got it all wrong. Bella's just a friend," Arlo protested. "Oh, right, because friends always exchange explicit photos, right? Using email, of all things. How dumb can you be?" I shot back. "You went through my personal stuff. You've got some nerve," he roared. "No, you have nerve, Arlo. How dare you threaten my daughter to give you money that's not yours? How dare you even consider kicking her out of this house? And worse, how could you drag David into these dirty schemes, risking his future? You're truly out of your mind." Arlo was stunned into silence. "You're finished, and we're taking you down," my mom said icily. "Stop recording," Arlo shouted, lunging at me, but I was too quick, dodging out of his reach. His outburst only confirmed the darkness within him. You think you can assault my daughter? Are you that eager to rot in prison? Mom sneered. You two think you know everything? You have no idea what you're getting into, Arlo barked. Really? Tell that to the cops. They'll be here any minute now, Mom replied with chilling calm. At that moment, the unmistakable wail of police sirens filled the air. For the first time, I saw real fear in Arlo's eyes. He had always worn a smug grin, acting like he was untouchable, but now, he looked like a ghost. Rose, please, you don't need to do this. I can explain everything, Arlo begged, his voice shaky. Tell it to the judge, you miserable cockroach. You disgust me, and David, don't think you're off the hook either. You knew better but still got involved. There will be consequences. Yeah, David, I added. Come on, Jasmine, isn't this a bit much? David tried to reason. If anything, it's not nearly enough, Mom snapped. How's the live stream going, Daisy? She asked me. Over 3,000 viewers and climbing. I grinned. This is going to blow up, Mom said with satisfaction. Oh, and by the way, Arlo, consider this my formal announcement. I want a divorce. That moment was a turning point. The chaos didn't end with us. News of Arlo's downfall spread like wildfire, reaching local tabloids and papers. It was surreal to be at the center of such a scandal, but watching Arlo's empire crumble was gratifying. He lost his job, friends, and even family who wanted nothing to do with him anymore. Now, he's facing serious charges that could land him behind bars for up to 20 years. The authorities also tracked down Bella, who had been hiding out during the drama. She, too, faces the same charges. On our side, life was finally peaceful. The ordeal brought Mom and me closer, and now we spend weekends on the patio, drinks in hand, laughing at how ridiculous and vile Arlo turned out to be. Good riddance.